It's a moon in Virgo day. What that means is that the moon is in the part of the sky that we call Virgo. Numerically, that is the sixth equal sector from the spring equinox. I like to view a lot from astrology and other disciplines numerically. Maybe my background in the exact sciences always informs that. But I picture the sixth part of this 12-fold division to be the time for us to kind of tidy up. In Leo, we play and we create. In Virgo, we wash our paintbrushes and tidy up around our space and now go and eat because, well, we can create only for that long without food or water or sleep. And those are all the domains of Virgo. Virgo is very hyper aware of meeting our needs. So one of its key phrases is to take care. You take care of others, you take care of yourself in terms of health. People with pronounced Virgo energies do like to be practical. How they decide to spend that energy or apply that energy in daily life depends on where that Virgo energy is in the chart. In my chart, Virgo is the 12th house, and the 12th house is the last, right? The next house is going to be 1. And so it brings this resonance with tidying up, ending of a cycle, and getting some insights on how to start a next cycle. That will be the first house in a couple of days when the moon goes into the next sign of Libra. And if you play it on a monthly basis, that could be your personal month. I'm currently at the end of my personal month and I'm getting ready to start the next one. What does that mean? For me, I have found it actually almost funny. A lot of insights, a lot of introspection, a lot of reflection, but at the same time, it's Virgo. So I have to scrub up the bathrooms and I have to clean or cook because I like to feed my family. I just cooked 3 meals for my family for tonight. There's an aspect of I have to be active and I like to put everything in order. Decluttering, that is the time. It resonates with the end of the cycle because I want to declutter and be ready for the next one. But it doesn't quite resonate with the 12th house because Virgo is very active. Virgo hits the ground and going. The 12th house is more reflective. And ironically, I have caught myself on several occasions scrubbing the bathrooms and getting some spiritual insights. And I'm like, now I get them now, not when I meditate, not when I sit quiet or join a retreat. I will be getting my downloads during moon in Virgo just because the Virgo is the 12th house. And so I have to remember myself to remind myself on moon in Virgo days to still a little bit. I know that kind of rubs us the wrong way. Virgo is like, let's hit the ground going. But still, don't underestimate the stillness. And when I say stillness, I don't mean sit all day and meditate. What I mean is more like the recognition that you need a moment of stillness. Literally, a moment. You blink and that could be enough. Sometimes if you have more time, you can go for a few more blinks. But that space, that gap, that you give yourself between different activities is usually enough, especially when I'm in moon and day, to have that space from the daily routines, from the daily drama, and to remember that my true choice, our very, very first choice, is whether we want to engage with the situation or not. Most of the time, 99% of the time, I actually forget. And you think that the choice is between left and right, conservative, Democrat. Do I have to go to this store to shop or the other shop? There's so many choices that I frankly think we're actually tired of those choices. I think it's called the fatigue from too many choices. If you have painted your rooms, the walls of your rooms, you know, you go to the hardware store and they give you like 1,000 choices. I don't like that. In fact, I found this little brochure. One of the paint companies created this brochure of 240 colors, and they match with each other. I was like, oh, thank you, so nice. I don't need 1,000 shades unless you're a professional interior designer or painter or an artist. For everyday folks like us, I was so grateful to get those 240 choices that span from everything, the blues, the greens, the red, the yellow. And so it's a whole zoo of choices for us. And in that moment of stillness, there's one choice so primary, so fundamental that most of us jump across and we don't even recognize it. Do I want to engage with the situation or not? And you might choose to engage. I'm not saying you should not. But when you go back in the next blink into the situation, you go there with clarity. There's some centeredness around you. My favorite story comes from a book by Nicholas Roerich. He was a Russian explorer and artist who left Russia before the revolution and traveled in the United States of America, then in India. And in one of his books, he shares a story of the flight of the Dalai Lama in the 1920s, where they were chased by military body sent by the Lhasa, the Dalai Lama people, and there was some political quarreling, and so anyway, so the Dalai Lama and his entourage are running, and they reach that a lake, and the temperature at the somewhere around the evening, early evening, maybe late evening, the temperature is dropping, and Dalai Lama says, "Okay, pause. Let's take a moment of stillness." He goes to meditate. Temperature is dropping. People are starting to get antsy because their pursuers are getting closer. And somewhere around midnight, the lake freezes completely. So Dalai Lama gets up and says, "Let's go." By the time their pursuers reached the next morning, the sun had actually melted the ice, and their pursuers could not go straight. They had to go around and lose 3 more days. And it's a famous story, I guess, according to Roerich, in Central Asia. To me, that story is the epitome of what a moment of stillness does. And again, first, we're not Dalai Lama. Second, it doesn't have to be ours. It's that one moment of stillness where you get clarity. Or maybe something else. Or maybe you give a chance, an opportunity of your guides and the universe to rearrange slightly the situation around you, and things are not as bleak. I have become addicted to that moment of stillness. And I do it when I remember. There's the fine print. When I remember, it's very nice. And I've had a lot of clarity in those moments. Sometimes I would choose not to engage with the situation where normally I would have just jumped in and gotten into the fray. Other times, I actually decided to engage with a situation that otherwise I would have just let it pass. That moment is amazing. And if you have more time, you can actually take 5 minutes or 5 seconds, whatever it is. The one downside, well, originally that I found was I felt like very dismissive. Well, what? If I sit 1 minute, 1 second or 1 minute, nothing is going to happen. So it's that dismissive attitude informed from past habits was more difficult to battle than simply sit in the quietude of one moment and get my head straight. And so lately, what I have started doing is a new exercise for me. I found it in a book and I was very inspired to try it. And that is to actually connect with my heart, to bring my awareness from my head into my heart. The exercise is not new. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there practicing it, but it was new for me. And of course, the reason why, the obvious one, is I tend to be too much in my head with background in exact sciences, physics, math. My day job requires a lot of that mental energy also. I do spend a lot of time in my head. And this new exercise, actually, strangely, I have enjoyed it tremendously. And that is too, whenever I catch myself restless or saying, oh, this is not going to work, what's the point of becoming still? I pause and say, okay, I can go and do whatever I want, but let me bring my awareness from my head to my heart. And for those of you who are empaths, that's probably a very natural thing. You can feel your body and you can easily move the awareness from the head to the heart. But something surprising came out of that practice, and that was my restlessness and sense of boredom subsided. I do it frequently on my daily walks in my neighborhood, and before I was restless. I was bored. I was checking my watch and counting the steps, how long before I can just go home and chill. I wanted to close my exercise rings. But now with that exercise of moving my awareness from my head to my heart, I find the boredom is gone. I don't know why. Thank you, exercise. Thank you for the person who put it out there for me to finally see it and want to try it. I feel more centered and more confident and comfortable riding unpleasant emotions, where before I would be anxious or fearful, and particularly I don't like confrontations, so I was very good in compartmentalizing that, avoiding it, denying it, circumventing it, my usual way, and I'm very proficient in circumventing those confrontations in a very, very clever way. This new exercise, actually, the effect of it has been to actually be like, oh, look at that. I can easily ride that emotion, and the emotion just goes through your body and passes. You kind of take it, but you don't take it and keep it. But that heart exercise helps you to take it and let go of it. Take it and let go of it. It's a way of being in the flow of life. And this is getting very abstract. So anyway, I'm going to circle back to the specifics. Specifically, what I do is actually, as I walk, I picture them. As I breathe on the intake, I bring my awareness from my head down to my heart. And then on the exhale, I bring that energy away in my bubble of peace around myself. On the next inhale, I picture the energy coming from my feet to my heart, where it mingles with whatever I brought down. And then again, I exhale it in my piece of bubble around myself. And I do this for 4, 5, 6 cycles. I notice that when I walk, especially if you're walking uphill, you can't really do much, at least as a beginner. So I stop when I feel short on breath, or I feel like, okay, wait, it's getting a little bit too much effort here. I like effortless exercises. And then later on, once I calm down, I can just pick up again the exercise. But the most surprising side effect of that exercise was that I no longer feel that I need to avoid the confrontation or negative emotions. I just step out a little bit with this combination of one moment of stillness and having that exercise, bringing my awareness from my head to my heart. I don't squirm. It's okay. And I can simply just let them go through my own piece of bubble, and they go out the other way. And which was a great discovery. In the past, all those negative emotions used to give me a lot of hard time. I would go crazy. Do I need to battle it, or now do I need to avoid it? What do I do? And you spiral down. But in this case, none of it. Because really, the heart is not weak. The heart is actually very strong. Our problem is not that of weak hearts. Our problem apparently has been all along a disconnect with the heart. And so once we connect, we become very, very strong, very centered, and nothing can actually intimidate you. It's almost like coming home. I guess that's the feeling. The coming home and recognizing your powers that have been with you all along.